There he is.
Here he is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our info session on programming for game development today. My name is Mashur Chaudhry, and I am the manager of recruitment and sales for the Chang School. Now, before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Toronto Metropolitan University is built upon. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. I thank the Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island for their efforts to protect the land, and I deeply regret the past injustices they have endured. As Toronto Metropolitan University seeks to move forward in partnership with Indigenous peoples, I pledge to foster an environment that is more inclusive and welcoming of Indigenous peoples from all communities. Now, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's session. Your microphone is muted throughout the event so as not to disturb other attendees or the presenters. For the hearing impaired, we have automated captioning available, which you can access by activating it in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. You can submit your questions to our speakers at any time by typing them into the question box in your control panel, and we'll collect them throughout the session and address them at the end of the presentation. Now I'd like to introduce our speakers for today. First, we have Dr. Alex Furwarn, Academic Coordinator of the certificate, and Dr. Chris Alexander, Professor of Video Games and Director of Red Bull Gaming Hub. Now, before we move on and do the quick presentation, we'd like to do a poll to get things going. So we wanted to know what your goals and motivations are to consider this certificate. Is it career advancement, career change, skill building for current role, personal interest, and others? So please take a couple of seconds to answer this poll for us because it allows us to provide some really good feedback to our teams. We'll leave it on for just another couple of seconds and then we'll get moving. Okay, looks like career change and personal interest are the two options that got selected. I know we don't have a lot of attendees today, so it'll be a very intimate session and we can expect to answer all of your questions. So now I will invite our academic coordinator, Dr. Alex Furwarn, to share a certificate overview. Alex is a professor of computer science in the Faculty of Science, senator at large, and co-chair of the Joint Health and Safety Committee at the Toronto Metropolitan University. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Mashur. Welcome everybody who's here today to learn a little bit more about programming for game development. So the slide that's up in front of you is essentially the key features. The important thing is that it's completely online, so you don't actually have to come to TMU to participate in the courses, and it's with a live instructors in each one of those courses. So it's done synchronously, so you will actually have the benefit of someone who is a game developer, who is the instructor for whatever course you happen to be taking. We have a suggested timeline of anywhere from 8 months to 1.5 years. But actually, our experience already has been that people either want to do it very, very quickly, meaning that they'll get it in the 8-month period, or they'll delay. And people delay for all kinds of reasons. So you have an outside limit of up to 6 years to complete this certificate if you like. But we would prefer you to get out and working if at all possible. The cost is shown there. It's not exorbitant for this type of training because you will be getting instruction from game developers who actually work in the area. It's a good opportunity to learn how the gaming industry works, how the interactions of the different parts of a game and the game development process fits in the world, and how you participate in it, right? So any kind of complex game inevitably involves a team, and all of this will be discussed. by your instructors during the various courses. And finally, all of our certificates are similar in this respect. We shy away from doing anything that's like an exam. Exams don't do us any good because they're just pieces of paper and you can't really show an employer an exam. However, you can show them a portfolio of something you've actually done. We have some very good instructors, including sort of our lead instructor, Chris Alexander, here today, who will help you develop a portfolio that you can be proud of and show to potential employers where you are. Now, this is not to say you create a you take the certificate, you'll be an expert game developer, but you will be a game developer. You will understand all the parts and you will have developed your own game or games. These are useful assets when you're looking for a job or you're seeking to move up from where you are. Next slide, please. So there's lots of reasons to take this. In fact, I wish I had taken it. So I learned to program for reasons that were academic, right? So I took a course and I needed to know how to program because I was taking a degree in computer science. But it would be cool if I actually had a purpose other than simply doing it because I had to. So the idea of learning to do games is more than just programming the game yourself. If you think about it, a game is just a simulation, right? So a simulation, there's industrial requirements for simulation. So you're actually on the ground floor of more than one industry. So it's not just a matter of developing games; it's a matter of thinking of it as a more expansive way of looking at programming. We have many programmers who already are self-taught, and some of which actually have degrees who take this certificate, and they'll learn about the details of what's required to actually produce a decent game. Next slide. So you're going to gain expertise in a whole slew of programming languages, specifically C# and C++, because they're kind of the languages of the realm. So whatever programming environment or game engine you're working in, be it Unity or Unreal, you're going to have to know both those. And so we will show you those. We will also show you how to do a workflow for developing games and the game development cycle, like how it actually goes through the process of from inception to final production. Now, probably the most important thing for you, although it doesn't look like it when you're looking at an expensive certificate and 4 courses just to start, at the end of it, you'll have a portfolio. And that portfolio will be rather useful because employers want to see what you've already been able to do. And actually, our experience so far has been employers usually overshoot what they actually want, right? So they'll tell you they want a whole bunch of things. And you are struggling most of the time to say, well, I don't have this one and I have this one. But if you actually show them what you are capable of, there's a lot of forgiveness in that because they can see that you know what you're doing to a large extent, and you can show that you can learn the rest. So that's a foot in the door. So also, we leverage AI within the courses to allow to use assistance from AI to help you with actually development of the games and understanding the concepts within it. And I think you'll find that it's pretty well integrated and brand new. Next slide. Yeah, so we focus on showing you how to program with the goal of programming for actually developing games. We don't require you to take everything in a row, and you can take it kind of at your own pace, which is rather helpful. So those of you who have timing issues with your life, like everybody else, will be able to delay, right? And that is a good thing. And as I said, the portfolio you come out with is probably the more useful tool, one of the more useful tools you'll actually have because it's a live thing. You can show someone a game or several games that you could be proud of, and they'll be confused about. And confusion is a good thing to actually engender because it creates conversations, right? So, and that conversation often leads to a job. Also, you'll be exposed to inevitably, each one of these industries has its own lingo, and gaming certainly does. So you'll have to understand that, and that's something you'll get out of this as well. And thank you. Next slide. And that's it. So we encourage you to enroll in the winter term. We have instructors ready to help you. And I see that Chris Alexander has joined. I used to have a chair of my department. It was Chris Alexopoulos. So you look nothing at all alike, but yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Alex, for sharing that overview. Yeah, please visit our website to find more information. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the video games professor, public speaker, online education specialist with over 30 years of experience in connecting theory and practice, Dr. Chris Alexander, our industry expert. Dr. Chris is also the director of Red Bull Gaming Hub and a professor at TMU. Welcome, Dr. Chris.
Thank you so much for having me. I am hopeful that you can all hear me. Just joking. I know that you can. Thank you all for joining us today. We're super excited to welcome you should you choose to join our ranks. I guess a great way to get you excited and involved is just to give you a brief summary of some of the things we've been doing around the school. And I'll tell you a little bit about me so you understand where I come from in the eventual hope that when we meet, you'll know a little bit. All right. So both Bing and Google refer to me as the professor of video games. I'm also an educational technologist, but what on earth does that mean? I break my research up into 3 core areas. The first area is video game design. That's how we create, shape, and make an experience for at least one person other than ourselves. That's what you're going to be doing in this very program. The second area is solo production. It's quite likely this is the first time you've been in a Zoom call where you're seeing everybody's subtitles live at the same time, as well as this type of eye contact in the middle of a Zoom call. We teach folk how to do that, helping some students jump from 0 to 60,000 subscribers in just 5 weeks, and getting some people promoted in their jobs that take place online, because the way that you show up is the way that you show up. The third area, the evolution of education. As Alex mentioned, we're chatting about the use of artificial intelligence, which I know in the questions section, hopefully y'all have some questions. I have some tips to teach you about some things, even today, some offline server, if you're interested in that kind of thing, and we'll wait to see those questions over there. Now, we do deal with Unreal Engine as well as Unity. I've also myself started working in Godot and doing that in partnership with Cursor AI. More on that in the questions section. So we can teach you how to do all those things. But what's exciting about this program, it's bespoke in nature. You build what you want. Somebody says, does the program cover emergent areas like VR, AR, mobile game development, or AI in games? Yes, anonymous attendee. As I was just mentioning, yes, absolutely, we do. And that's why I was talking about Unreal Engine, Unity, as well as Godot. We did do some work with digital twins with the architecture program here previously. So you will get the knowledge behind building that, but it's up to you whether or not you actually want to explore it. One way of thinking about this program is we are a gym, okay? And some people come to the gym to work out, or even a better analogy, we are a cooking school. We're going to give you a bunch of recipes, but it's only when you go and practice those recipes that you get to cultivate meals that you are going to share with everybody else. I can teach you about Unreal Engine. I can teach you about Unity. I can teach you about Godot. But unless you go with the recipes and build your own structures, people, as I mentioned before, people will work with you for what you can do. They're not going to work with you for what you can don't, because that doesn't even make any sense. That's my answer to that first question. What core tools, engines, and programming languages are you taught in the certificate, e.g. Unity and Unreal? So as you know, Unreal works with C++ and Unity works with C#. If you're working with Godot, you might be learning some GD script, or you might be doing things in web HTML5 and WebJS as well. It depends on the direction that you're willing to take and what platform you're going to be developing for, especially if you're in that industry. That's my answer to that second question. And I didn't even get through the presentation yet. So solo production, we will teach you how to present yourselves online. This is an online certificate. And let me give you an example right now. Take a look at the color in this shot, and I'm going to show you what my computer has done to change it, all right? Take a look. You can see how things look. Give me a second. This is what the camera actually looks like, and we can show you how to upgrade your skill set using color management, lookup tables inside of OBS, for example, so that when you're moving through industry, you show up looking professional. Let me fix that. It's a small thing, but not really when you see it. All right. So now when we're talking about the evolution of education, artificial intelligence. So we're going to get into that in the questions. And I believe I answered both of those questions. Anonymous attendee. It's always my favorite. We always get anonymous attendees showing up and asking questions. Those are my favorite questions. Keep them coming. All right. So as mentioned, I'm the director of the Red Bull Gaming Hub. Although this is an online certificate, some folk might be visiting. You'll want to see this space. We've got 36 high-powered machines featuring the tool sets that you heard us describe, as well as teaching in those areas, including AR, VR, and mobile. I just started experimenting with building mobile games in Godot just this morning, and I can't wait for more questions surrounding that. What else am I supposed to tell you? I happen to have given a TED Talk about how video games can level up the way that you learn. And I'm not talking about playing video games. I'm talking about the components of video games: audio, text, video, and interactivity. These are the components that we're going to be teaching you about how to galvanize those for the sole purpose of interacting with other users. All right. I gave a second TED Talk. This one is for teachers and educators, called How AI Can Level Up the Way That You Teach, where I talk about how you can leverage these artificial intelligence tools to teach yourself new skills and students, because we do have some teachers that take this program abroad. What else am I supposed to tell you? I happen to teach a very large class. Now we're currently talking about, or maybe I shouldn't say it too early, eventually, there may be some collaboration and connection between this course and this program, but I teach a class, one of the largest classes at TMU, called Introduction to Game Design. And it is over 864 students across 21 disciplines, university-wide, and most importantly, it's non-mandatory, meaning every single student you see funneling into the theater has chosen to be there. Now, we're talking about cross-disciplinary. Yes, we have a large class, but let's look specifically at those disciplines. You can see computer science there, but we also see nursing and criminology and biology. And just to take biology, for example, we do talk about things like dopaminergic exploitation and teaching how we write algorithms, we develop game systems that help people connect. Well, really, in the case of Candy Crush, 1 in every 1,000 people spend $1. And that led to King at the time making roughly $68 million, which led to Activision Blizzard purchasing King, and then Microsoft swooping in to swallow them all up. But that has to do with the way that we design our games and what our intentions are. Some people are making interactive experiences. Some people are making games that they're hoping will connect with specific users to unlock their wallets. And you have the fluidity and ability to choose what kind of developer you're going to be. I don't know how long this presentation is, but we have been connected with folks like Audible, Google, and KFC. And we have a lot of connections if you're interested in connecting with us once you get into this program. I think I'll stop right there. Otherwise, I'll turn this into a full lecture and see if there are any questions from our live studio audience.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Chris. Love that recipe analogy. That's really appropriate in this case. But yes, I know we don't have a lot of attendees today, but whoever's in here, please enter your questions right now so that we can answer them. Okay, so next question is from Div. What kind of games do people develop in the course?
So we've had some people make some VR titles. We've had folks that have worked on simulations. One of your instructors, Dylan Ravka, actually built a scuba diving simulator in VR that I helped guide him through when he was one of my students. He is a scuba diver himself. So students have made a varying, and I think there's some visible outlets where you can see that. The idea here is, though, you will want to come and bring your skill set, your perspectives into building something that is bespoke for your specific needs. Is the program covered by Better Jobs Ontario? That's not a me question. From Greg.
Yeah, so Adam, our client service rep, will answer that. But then moving on to the next one is, how hands-on are the courses? Are they more lecture-based or project-based?
So I would say, since it's online, it would be a combination of both of those. So you are sitting and learning at the same time. So that is more lecture-based, but hands-on, as mentioned. We will tell you exactly what the recipe items are, what to download, how to download. We'll show you all of those things, but they're only useful if you put those recipes to use. So it is hands-on, but it's your hands on the material, right? There's a very different output for students who just show up for class and work in engines versus students who take those recipes and every day they're cooking, all right? If you wanted to make the best chocolate chip cookie, You're not going to make it by baking it once every week for 12 weeks. You're going to do it by practicing over and over and testing and sampling and sharing it with other people. That's the type of approach we're hoping the most galvanized folk that take this course also take. Is the certificate suitable for someone with no coding or art background? Yes, absolutely it is. So you will learn foundations of programming. You'll also learn visual scripting. You'll also learn, either in our courses or on your own, how you can co-code with artificial intelligence. I'll give you an example. When you become a TMU student and get an email with us, or probably on your own, you have access to a service called Gemini. And Gemini has an AI that you can install on your phone that also has a vision model that if you, and I've done this before, I've had on a stand behind me, I have the camera of my phone pointing at my computer screen in Unity while I'm working in Unity, and I say, I'm stuck. What can I do? And then Gemini tells me exactly where to click and what to do. So there are different methods of learning. That's one. How much? Hold on a second. And when it comes to the art background, I can show you some of the UX UI from some of the games that I've built.
Yeah,
where,
that'd be awesome.
I'm currently working on an application that we're now submitting for clinical trials, and it's about sleep training. And I have no art background, but I do a lot of presentations, as you see. So I decided to build my UX UI inside of presentation software. It'll be easier if I show you. Presentation software, and then exporting those layers as transparent backgrounds to use in the engine. Do you understand what I'm saying? I basically made a UX UI slideshow that goes as a transparent layer on inside of the program that I'm building. So I can show you how to do all this stuff because I do it myself. And so these are just clear examples that you don't necessarily, it depends on what you're doing, but for me, I try to build as much as I can on my end for prototyping and testing, which if I can collect the funds, I would hire an artist to do it, but I pay for Canva. I have access to these assets. I should and will use those. So it will be bespoke, but that's my answer to that question. What kinds of roles do graduates typically pursue? Anonymous attendee again. I think this would be relative to the individual, but let me give you a concrete answer. Right now, if you look at a website called hitmarker.net, there are roughly 4,707 jobs available for you right now. So it's interesting to look at what roles graduates typically pursue. They're usually bespoke relative to individuals. Some people want to work for AAA. Many people want to work for themselves, and they're here to transfer their current skill set into a new skill set so they can do either transition or do dual sets of income. So you can see technical producers, lead producer, back-end C++. And I guess you can break that up if you wanted to just look at what's in Canada right now. Only 239 different results, some of which are game designer, proofreaders even, but the roles that graduates typically pursue are relative to their own interests. We don't typically suggest, you should go here. We do have some connections, and when we learn more about you and your superpowers, sometimes, I know I do it, I suggest different students to different outlets. Some of these roles are out of Canada. Will the certificate be valid out of the country? Well, you actually, there might be a delay on the stream, anonymous attendee, but you saw that I just corrected it to be Canada exclusive. And the certificate will be valid out of the country in terms of what you do. So like if you're building a portfolio, as you do and can do in this program, people are going to work with you because of your portfolio. They're not necessarily going to be concerned with where you live. So yeah, let me put that in the chat so you can see it. This is the Canadian distilled filter because I anticipated that answer from you. Let me type the answer. I can just put it in the chat here. Wow, okay, cool. And everybody has access to that. How much of the program focuses on, I answered that one already. Is the certificate something that can be completed in less than 8 months? How's the workload? All right. So I'm not sure if people have completed it in less than 8 months.
No,
but
8 months would be the minimum.
Yeah, 8 months would be the minimum. But what I would say is there's the formal completion, and then there's you working every single day to build something so you know it's over and you're already on to your destination. Do you understand what I'm saying? The crux of many of my answers will be it's all about how much work you're willing to put in. For example, I wake up every day at 4 o'clock and I do some kind of programming, some kind of game development. As I mentioned this morning, transitioning into Godot. Do I have it open right now? I can show you. Yeah. So the UI that I had built for, let me open up this debugger so I can show you some errors right now. That sleep training mobile app that I had showed you that I prototyped that we're going to do clinical tests on was built in a separate program. And this morning I woke up to learn how I can transition that program into Godot. First time using Godot, learning about mobile templates, but again, going to the gym every day, / working on your recipes every single day. Talking about portfolios, what kinds of portfolio pieces can students expect to create by the end of the certificate? Again, anonymous attendee, it would be relative to what you would like to see. If you want to build a mobile app, then that's what you would build. If you wanted to build a web-based, hey yo, we all know about Messenger. Let me show you about that right now. Messenger Albedo. If you wanted to build something like this, here it is. No, not the bag. Oh, let me see. Did they take it down? No. All right, let's see if we can find it. There is an online game. Here it is. Completely in web browser, okay? Look at this. Look at what I'm showing you right. Let me take off the green so you can see the actual green. But let me explain, and I live streamed this before. For those of you who follow me, you will see. But this is in browser. Somebody used WebJS to not only build a video game, but also this browser-based game is network-based, okay? I want to give you a tangible example of what is possible. So this is you as a character. You set things up. Yes, let's skip over all of this. But what I want to pay your attention, draw your attention to is I can do this on a mobile phone or on my computer. And in a moment, you will see, if I can get there close enough, somebody else with a backpack walking around this world. You see that person right there? That is somebody else who is currently also playing this game. So this is a browser-based WebJS game that also has networking connected to it. And there's somebody else that just joined. So my point is, it depends on what you want to build. There are a lot of programs that are very prescriptive. This is a game where this is a program rather, where it is up to you to decide how far you want to go and work toward that. I'm not saying you should make a WebJS game. I'm not saying you should use Godot. I'm telling you what I'm using, why I'm using. The inspiration from Godot was from a game that we had looked at in class called Dog Walk, which uses Blender, free and open source, and Godot, free and open source. We saw what happened with Battlefield 6. Many organizations are pivoting to these open source applications so they don't have to pay royalties, as you have to do with Unity and Unreal. So again, it's going to be dependent on the portfolio that you would like to make, specifically answering your question, anonymous attendee. My counter question would be, what kind of portfolio piece would you like to make? And then when you tell me, I'm like, all right, here are the steps to build that. What AI tools will we work with? Well, anonymous attendee, again, it will depend on the ones that you're familiar with using. Yes, you could use ChatGPT, which generally is not that good for coding. I found a bit more success in tools like Grok and Claude, but also Cursor, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with Cursor. It's more SCP or MCP in nature, Model Context Protocol, where you're attaching to a folder and making modifications. But in terms of if you're saying, for example, I don't want to use ChatGPT, we will teach you and can teach you about things like LM Studio, which allows you to make local AI without connecting to the cloud while still using the most powerful models, or Lemonade Server put out by AMD, so that you don't necessarily have to use any of those tools that you have to pay monthlies for. So again, the tools will be bespoke. They will be up to you. And I'm certain I just gave you 2 tools that you're like, wait, what's Lemonade Server? If you already knew about LM Studio, then great on you. Next question. Do you enjoy Godot? I am learning to enjoy Godot. I did build a prototype earlier this year as part of my class, but now I'm trying to do a more holistic beyond just the mechanics and beyond just the visuals and the mechanics incorporated as well. I'm still learning. Curious, how much math is involved in the courses? I don't know. I have a partial answer for that, but Alex, do you have one? Because you're the computer scientist out of the two of us.
There's the necessary math for doing things like knowing visibility, but a lot of that's handled by the tools, right? So a basic understanding of what's visible would be very, very helpful. And I can't think of anything. And so I guess a basic background in maybe linear algebra would be handy, but not necessary,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
Because when we're looking at visual scripting in Unity, for example, a lot of that is C sharp. And now with your TMU account, you have access to Visual Studio and Copilot, GitHub Copilot inside of Visual Studio to point out your errors in real time. If you're looking at Unreal Engine, then you're using Blueprint with visual scripting. So you'll see the variables there. It'll all be broken down. A lot of the math is happening in the background. And same thing with Godot and GDScript. So it's possible, but not necessary, right? For example,
absolutely not necessary.
Yeah.
So like if you want to understand the theory behind some of the things that are going on, because the engines themselves do a lot of the work for you, then you'll fill your boots, right? But there's no requirement to know that. Unless you're doing something very specific, right? So if you're building like a robot that doesn't interact in regular ways with the engine itself, then probably you'll have to do some of the math your own. But most people don't do that, right? And the only reason you would do that is for some weird simulation that you might be doing. So I have graduate students that do that, but most of the work that you're starting with won't have anything to do with that. So you'll be fine.
Okay, next question is from Greg as well. Is the C++ portion in an IDE or in Unreal or both?
You're talking about integrated development environment? Yeah, I would imagine so. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that term. That's more of a
yeah, you're using it inside the game engine. You're not using the actual. There's no standalone module that we do C++ in.
No. It's always within the context of an engine, unless you're at that level and you're choosing to do that on your own. Me, I'm an engine guy without a computer science degree. My whole thing is game design, and I'm more now moving into visual scripting and development. Things like becoming an Unreal Engine authorized instructor, for example, knowing basic blueprint structure.
And what's funny is that so IDEs themselves are now embedded within these engines. So the answer is maybe, because if you're using the development environment within the engine, then yeah, you're using an IDE for the engine, but it's not an IDE that you would consider. So yeah, don't worry about it. You'll be learning in a place where your code actually turns into something you can see, and the mechanism that how that works. We're just talking about terminology at the moment.
If I am currently in undergrad computer science, when do you suggest I take this? This might be one of my students.
Yeah, that's really up to you. So I don't know if you're our undergraduate student. We used to joke that you're employable after 2 years, but actually it's more like 1 year now, really. So I would suggest that 1 year is reasonable. You will benefit from learning things that are not related to game development first, but it's not necessary. So I would say after the first year, you're fine. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you all for answering all these questions. So we don't have any more open questions right now, but to our attendees, if there's any more questions, feel free to enter them in. I will wait a couple of more minutes, but is there anything else, Alex or Dr. Chris, you'd like to add while we wait for any more questions?
Well, it's something I just occurred to me, right? Because so yes, there are lots of people who want to work in the game industry, so they want to get paid employment. But there are also many people who just want to do this on their own, not necessarily for the purposes of making a game. So I have graduate students, for example, in the first iteration of this certificate, we had a master's student who basically took all the courses so that he could run a simulation of a veteran site, right? So he was doing things for Dieppe, and he used that to show to veterans what something would look like, right? So his goal wasn't to actually build a game. He happened to build a game, but his goal was different. So your goals can be met by this certificate, and not necessarily just gaming. So if you want to learn a program, this is actually a great way to do that, right? Because it actually has a purpose. If you want to actually just show people something sometimes, this gives you a whole set of tool sets. And you saw how Chris Alexander does it, right? Like it's all singing, all dancing all the time. Well, you learn how to do that, right? So that is very useful for gaining employment in almost every field.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I had mentioned some disciplines that were adjacent but separately not directly related to game development. I'll give you some tangible answers right now in terms of some of the work that I've done, that I've worked with students and other organizations on. So if you look at, for example, post-traumatic stress disorder, there are some studies, a 2017 and 2018 study that shows that if you play Tetris within 48 hours of traumatic experience, you can reduce PTSD. So now we're working on studies to figure out what are the properties of Tetris that help with PTSD, and then we can develop a game that's specifically targeted at post-traumatic stress disorder, because Tetris is just doing it on the side by accident. Also, there was a question earlier on from anonymous attendee about virtual reality. Did you know that folks are now using virtual reality to treat burn victims using programs such as Snow World? Because we found that when you put burn victims in cold environments, their pain is reduced. So sometimes while they're being operated on, and sometimes while they're in recovery, we can place them in these cold environments and they'll feel great. That is not for fun. That is for healing and repair. AR navigation, as I mentioned, doing some work with architecture. So some of you might be in industry right now in architecture, and you will learn how to build, for example, navigation for digital twins or buildings, grabbing it from Revit files or whatever you've been working with in your architecture discipline. We were speaking about AI development in the Sleep Train app. And I can't show you right now, but there's something called the Proteus effect, where if you show up as an avatar, some doctors, when showing up in avatars, have their patients disclose more ailments. And that has to do with something called the Proteus effect. So if you're looking at health and wellness, patients for doctors, maybe the game that you're making is facial capture recognition for the purpose of doctors that are trying to help their patients disclose more of their ailments so they can receive more care and help. That is also something that you can explore, but just trying to give some specific answers that detail things that aren't all fun and games. And we're so excited. One thing about taking a program like this is an active choice to try to move something forward in your own life. There are a lot of people who are sitting around saying, oh, I'm sad about AI, I'm sad about this. But there are a lot of people who wake up very early every day to work on something. By taking a program like this, it is a choice. I want to make recipes, I want to build things, and it's a commitment to do so. So it's very exciting, and and we're thankful for all of you who have showed up today, because that's the first step. I think, oh no, there was an answer by Greg T, who I suspect is a computer scientist. But it's been answered already. Are there any other questions from our live studio audience?
Okay, yeah, looks like no more questions from our live studio audience, including anonymous attendee. Greg
Greg T. Oh, medium, amazing. Well, yeah, we could teach you a thing or three about frustum. All right, so this is a quick lesson. Frustum has to do with what the camera sees in our video game engines, right? Frustum culling is the idea that you need to program your game and optimize it so that only what the camera sees is what you render. Everything outside, we delete. That's called frustum culling. So you'll be using your media production lens, but you also have to write some scripts to do frustum culling. And the way that you test this in any of your favorite first-person shooter games is if you look in a certain direction and flip around immediately, you'll start to see things populating, because they didn't know you were going to turn around that fast. That's something that your superpower of media production will play directly in engine, particularly for first and third person cameras inside of these engines. Greg T.
Brilliant. Love that. Yeah, we've answered over 18 questions. I think this was a great session so far. At this point, there are no more open questions. We'll do one more quick poll. Which is sort of for us, again, providing feedback. How likely are you to take a course from this certificate? And yeah, if you can quickly answer that, that'll help us to do our follow-ups with you, help you with any steps that you need to take to enroll in this certificate or anything else. Okay, so yeah, we'll end that poll. Looks like we have a fair number of people who are very likely and somewhat likely to take a course, which is great to hear. Thank you to our presenters and speakers, and thank you all for attending, taking the time out of your day during lunchtime to attend on our online session today. If you're interested in finding out more information about this certificate, please visit our website at continuing.torontomu.ca, and you can contact me via email directly at mash.chaudhry@torontomu.ca. All this information and a recording of the session will be sent to you with a survey within the next 24 to 48 hours. And on behalf of the Chan School and our presenters and speakers today, thank you for joining us today and have a great rest of the day. Bye, everyone.
Take care.